My name is 𝗵𝗂𝗃𝗏, and I'm the marketing manager for SIGMAXIM, a PTC partner specializing in Creo automation solutions. Welcome to our webinar on maintaining legacy assets with Creo automation. If you have any questions during the webinar, please press the Q&A button at the top of your screen and type in your question, and we'll do our best to answer as many of them as possible at the end. So I'd like to introduce our speaker today, Brice Kou. And Brice is a senior applications engineer based in our office in France. He specializes in providing custom Creo automation solutions. He's worked for many companies in different industries and different company sizes. He worked at Group Beneteau and Schaeffler, where he oversaw the administration, support, and development of CAD and PLM tools, as well as the implementation of virtual reality. So Brice has extensive experience optimizing CAD processes, and today Brice will be providing valuable insights into how to maintain the various types of legacy assets and data with Creo automation. And we challenge you to find an easier, more cost-effective solution that can provide such an immediate ROI. Now, before Brice gets started, I just very briefly want to talk about SIGMAXIM. Here we go. So SIGMAXIM has been around since 2001. We are based in Boston with worldwide presence with operations and customers in Europe and Asia. And we have a very close relationship with PTC. We're a PTC software and services partner. And we have over 1 million applications running worldwide. And the way we do Creo automation, so the way we describe that is we eliminate non-value added engineering work inside of Creo. So as soon as an engineer makes a decision, we take all the steps that they need to do that task, and we can automate it. So that it saves time, and it results in a faster time to market, fewer errors, and so on. And we work exclusively with Creo. So versus a company that is CAD agnostic, we can really maximize what we can do for Creo users because we focus exclusively on Creo. As far as our methodology is concerned, people use automation in different ways. There are some customers who do mostly engineer to order or CTO versus interactive CAD automation, which focuses mostly on design and process automation. We also have a solution that is an innovative tool to automate large and complex assemblies. So it eliminates all of the difficulties with an overloaded assembly. And as I said, we are Creo automation experts. That's all we do. That's what we focus on. And we provide an immediate ROI. We get you up and running very, very quickly. And what's unique also about us is that we use a building block approach. So these are smart objects with all of the parameters and the rules inherent in the building blocks. And you can put one of these on top of the other, which enables us to scale that infinitely and build really huge products. So whatever you can build in Creo, we can automate it because we have this proprietary approach. And most importantly is our worry-free maintenance. You never have to worry if one of our automations is going to work in the next version of Creo. It will always work. Our platform enables us to guarantee that it will work with each new release of Creo, which is a huge advantage and less headaches for you. That's about it about SIGMAXIM, and now I'll hand it over to Brice to talk about the topic of our webinar, legacy data.
Thank you so much, Maria, for this really beautiful introduction. So yes, my name is Brice, and today my goal is to introduce you the concept of automation for a specific item that we call the legacy database. The legacy asset, what does it mean? All engineering, release, document, manufacturing requirement assets and database must be continuously maintained. So you have a database, you have a legacy, but first topic is, what does it mean? What is a legacy? Your legacy contains all your CAD files. Your CAD files could be the Creo parametric files, SolidWorks files, SketchUp files, or other kind of 3D models in different formats. Furthermore, your data is based on a structure. Maybe you have a PLM system architecture, maybe you have a server architecture, maybe you have other kind of architecture. But all this configuration are included into that we call the legacy database. Of course, your legacy database contains also all your 2D and 3D documents, process documents, manufacturing documents. And if you have many groups, if you have many factories into your group, maybe each factory has the same thing, the different configuration, and you need to maintain and mix all this configuration every time. All these topics constitute your database legacy. So it could be very big, a big legacy, and so big challenge day to day. So you need to maintain this database. And maintaining this database is the daily challenge in many ways. Administrators have to manage a large amount of data, depending on the situation and the project. For example, if you have a project of a migration project, for example, a CAD PLM migration, the data must be converted and probably updated so that it can be integrated efficiently and cleanly into the new system. When you acquire a new factory, for example, you inherit a current configuration. Okay, so maybe you want to standardize your models, you standardize your design methodologies, your document, to have only one common configuration. It's a big task because maybe you need to convert, you need to update 1,000 models, 1,000 documents. So it's very hard to do it day to day. Furthermore, when you have a drastic change in terms of management policy, maybe you need also change all your database or do some actions. For example, if you integrate a new ERP system, but to create the bridge between your CAD system, PLM system, and ERP system, you need to push some information to create new things inside your document and your 3D models. And the goal of an administrator is also to reduce all the human errors. So how to do that? How to maintain day to day a clean database? The solution is to use an automation. Why to use an automation? Because for this kind of tasks are very sensitive, take time, and it's very fastidious to do this kind of task. So for a senior employee, maybe it's feel like a punishment. And seniors don't want to do tedious work. And in the meantime, if you are a young employee, probably you have not all the experience to do that. Because once again, all your data are very sensitive. If you miss something, if you miss a parameter, or if you create a bad parameter, if you convert a bad data, you create a lot of pollution into your database, and the effect could be dramatic. So, because of all this sensitive data and fastidious task, but sometimes, finally, you stay on your to-do list forever. So, to prevent this case, you can use automation solution. And this is the goal of today. The goal of today is only to show you some quick example to introduce you the concepts or how can I maintain my legacy database thanks to automation solution. Okay, so today I will deliver you many quick examples, and the goal is to show this example because you need to update, you need to do something with a lot of data, not only one data. So this is what we call mass replace functionalities. The goal of this kind of solution is to guarantee, for example, your compliance with your design rules. You retain permanent control on your data and processes. This is your data, your processes, your rules, and you keep every time the control. As we already said, the goal also is to clean your CAD database every time into the target to minimize the human action. So, of course, the benefits are very good and very big. You save time, you reduce error, you save engineering resources, maybe to do more innovation and to organize your time to do other kind of tasks. So, to deliver this kind of task, you have many strategies, and your strategies can be adapted thanks to your rules and your process. And when SIGMAXIM creates a solution, it's not a standard solution for everybody. Each solution are totally flexible and adapted for the customer. For example, one of this strategy consists to, I want to treat only one file, the current file on my Creo parametric session. Or maybe I have 1,000 documents, 1,000 files inside my common space or inside a dedicated workspace, and I want to do a lot of action in only one operation on this model. Or you have maybe an external database, for example, from an ERP system, from another external server, from an external folder, etc. So you want to do mass action every time, and it depends your strategies. Which kind of example I want to show you today? We have every time the same kind of projects with a lot of customers. The first concern a recurring problem importing data into your system. You have external data, you want to import data, for example, SolidWorks file, CATIA files, step files, and you want to import it into your new system with Creo parametric, and convert in meantime all these documents to be compliant with your rules. So furthermore, in meantime, you want to update maybe your current database. You have a new rules, you want to create new metadata, new parameters, you want to convert model, you want to generate reports, so you need to update your database. You want to create a new process, for example, the MBD process. You want to convert all your 2D drawing. You want to, for example, move the 2D annotation from the 2D drawing to the 3D models in only one operation for 1,000 components. You want to convert models, for example, I have a lot of sheet metal parts. I want to convert this sheet metal part to generate 2D drawings, to generate the XF file, flat view, or something like that. And finally, the last example that I want to show you today is now, okay, I have a clean database, and now it's time to share technical document, 3D, 2D, reports with the subcontractors or internally to have a better communication between different offices. So let's go for the first example, import legacy data. Like I said, for example, maybe you have external data from a website, from another external database, for example, a CATIA file, SolidWorks files, and you want to import it inside your system according your rules. So what is the process? It's every time a story of process. The process is, okay, I want to open each file automatically, maybe in background or maybe in your Creo parametric session. I want to convert each file to Creo format. And in meantime, I want to set directly a lot of parameters. And according to some rules, I want to set a dedicated value, a correct value. The same for the layers, the same for the relation, the same for the material properties. Maybe when you import something, you want to rename automatically according to your convention name. Okay, so all these tasks, all these things, but you can do it thanks to an automation solution. So the best is to see a quick movie to show you about what is this process. Look here, for example, my strategy consists to, from a directory on a server, for example, or from a list of components I want to import into my system, but I want to import and convert this 3-step file directly on Creo, but according a lot of rules. So here you can see the result. The process is every time the same. Even if you have a single component or if you have a big assembly with 1,000 components, the process will be the same. So you keep the control about your data. Your process is respected and everybody is happy. Look here, the process was what? The process consists to, I want to create, when I convert my component, look here, this is an assembly, I want to have a start group. Okay, why not? To be compliant with the correct orientation, the correct view name, the correct combined view state, the correct simple representation, etc., etc. And this is exactly the same inside a component. Inside my component, I want to have my start group. Probably, maybe according a topology, I want to choose directly the right material with the right material properties. I want to create immediately a set of a couple of parameters. The same for the relation, for the layer, etc. So thanks to this automation, immediately you can treat 1,000 components in only one operation. This is a big benefit because you respect your process, you win time, you reduce error, etc. The next topic is now I want to update my data. Imagine the scenario, you have already a database. Okay, so now the process is I want to open it, and because my politic change, I need to add a new parameter inside each component. I need to remove some parameter. I need to replace some parameter. I need to change or delete some relation. I need to create new layers, etc., etc. You can imagine a big process. It's very depending your rules and your process. Here in this example, I want to open each data. I want to modify the material properties for each component. The same for the parameters, relation, and layer, and you will see what happens. Here, for example, I have already a component. Now, this is my assembly. Maybe this assembly contains 1,000 components. According a dedicated strategy, according your rules, but here, for example, I have the choice. Maybe I want to treat all my models, or maybe only some selection models, selected models, etc. I choose a material file, and immediately the system applies this material file for everybody inside your assembly. Furthermore, in meantime, you have a new material, so you have new material properties, you have new parameters. Maybe you want to see immediately some parameters into your PLM system. You want to designate some parameters. So like that, you can prepare a future automation to generate a report. For example, I want to have a weight report. I want to generate a cost report thanks to my material file. All is possible. You can imagine a lot of kind of automation. Here another example, okay, from an external file, it could be an Excel file, it could be a CSV file, XML or other kind of format. I want, thanks to this external file, update all my models to create new parameters with a specific value, or maybe I have already some parameters and I want to update the value according new rules. I change my contractor, so I need to update this kind of parameters. I change the logo of my company, so inside each 2D drawing, I need to update the logo of my company, etc., etc. You can imagine a lot of kind of process. So here, the process consists to, I need to update according to my strategy all the models. And in meantime, you can check your process generating some reports. You start a tool, the tool works, it checks a lot of points, and it can deliver you at the end a report to say, okay, all is okay for this part, all is okay for this part, maybe something is missing inside this part, etc., etc. So you can keep the control and you can create deliverable for other people, maybe to treat this kind of report to get more information and to take some decisions. So you prepare the job of the other thanks to an automation, finally. Here you can see now inside each model, I have my new parameters. I had some new relation, and the process is exactly the same with other kind of task in Creo. For example, the layers, etc. So here up, if I redo it, it's the same. Now I want to introduce you the concept of MBD process. Maybe you have 1,000 2D drawings inside your database, okay? And maybe imagine tomorrow you want to transform, you want to convert your 2D annotation inside the 3D models. You want to push this information from the 2D drawing to the 3D models. Imagine if you need to do it manually, one by one. It's extremely fastidious, and maybe you will generate error because maybe you will forget some 2D annotation or something like that. But thanks to an automation, it's easy to respect this kind of process. Here, I have my 3D models, and the tool will detect if you have a 2D drawing associated. If it's the case, you open in background your 2D drawings. It detects each annotation. Probably, if it's necessary, the automation will create alone a dedicated view, dedicated combined view, and it will transform and move your 2D annotation from the 2D to the 3D. This is one example. Of course, once again, there is no limitation for automation. If you can do it in 𝗂𝗶, we can automate it. Another example consists to say, okay, from my subcontractor, I receive a lot of files, for example, in step file or in 𝗬𝗃 files. And when I import these files in 𝗂𝗶, but I don't know right now if it's a sheet metal part, if it's an electric part, if it's a dedicated, very specific format file. So you can have a tool, for example, to convert at the end your file. Here, the process consists to detect inside an existing assembly if this part could be a sheet metal part or not. And if it's the case, we want to convert this part into a sheet metal part. And in the meantime, we want to generate a 2D drawing, probably with, I don't know, the first sheet, I want to have this view. In the second sheet, I want to have a flat view, scale 1, and export this view, this sheet, in 𝗂𝗃 file, scale 1, to prepare the files for the cutting machine, for example. So you see, finally, an automation, it's not only to generate to generate 3D data. We use the 3D data to respect a full process. So in meantime, you prepare the job of the other according, once again, your rules and your process. But here, an example. Inside my assembly, I have a lot of components. And after an import, my component, this is a classic component. It's not a sheet metal part, okay? And now my goal consists to, okay, I want to detect if this part needs to be a sheet metal part. And if it's the case, you will create a flat view. You will assign maybe a dedicated material with parameters, etc. So now I hope you understand. And in the meantime, I want to generate a 2D drawing and a 𝗂𝗃 file. You can, in the meantime, generate a report to follow your process and to have a feedback at the end. All is possible. Look, here you can see this is exactly what happened. He creates alone a folder. Okay. In this folder, he creates alone a subfolder with all your 𝗂𝗃 file, the same with the PDF, and he creates inside each component a flat instance, because this is the strategy we choose. Of course, we can choose to have a simple representation instead of an instance. Once again, it's every time according your rules and your process. So here we choose the process to create a flat instance. Okay, automatically with a specific name, a dedicated name. And furthermore, you can create some dedicated parameters. You can designate it into windshield to be treated after by another automation, etc., etc. So every time the goal is to prepare the job of the others and to respect your numerical chain finally. And like that, you thanks to the automation, finally you create bridge between different offices, between the design office, the method office, maybe the manufacturer, the quality, etc. So this is the last topic. The last topic consists to, okay, my data is ready now. And now I need to share information with everybody, internally or maybe with the subcontractors. So to do that, here, the example for the process is, okay, I have my existing database, and I want to export maybe IGS file, CATIA files, PDF files, 2D documentation, 2D reports, or something like that. So it's every time a story of process. My process, once again, in background, I want to open 1,000 components, 1,000 2D drawing. I want to export it according some rules. I don't know, maybe depending the name, I want to create a dedicated folder. I want to send automatically an email to say, hey, the process is finished. You can check your email, blah, blah, blah. So you can create all the automations you want according your process. But here, once again, quick movie to show you this process. On the first step, I want to select my strategy. I want to treat all my models, or maybe a list of models. Inside this model, I want to create a report to have a checklist of all the parameters inside each component. Maybe to create a report and use this report for other colleagues. Here you see, but for each component, I check all the parameters. And now the goal is to export 3D formats. For each component, I want to create a dedicated folder to generate the step file, CATIA file, Creo file. If a 3D component has a 2D drawing associated, but you found this 2D drawing, and in the meantime, you export it in PDF, in DXF, etc. So here, finally, you see the result. The tool creates many folders to respect your process. So at the end, it's every time a process story. We can create very, very complex, dedicated solution for you. The most important thing is only to extract what are your process from your head to automate it. If you can do it on Creo, we can automate it. I hope with all these quick and short example, now you know the full interest to use automation solution to win time, to reduce error, to capitalize your knowledge, to have every time a clean database. So thank you so much. And now it's not an issue. Here, for example, we receive a feedback from 𝗵𝗵𝗆. 𝗵𝗵𝗆, it's a company. And SIGMAXIM created a project with this company because this company, the issue was, okay, we have 80,000 AutoCAD drawing, and now our company changed CAD software, and we need to integrate all this data in 𝗂𝗶𝗆 plus windshield. So the process consists to, okay, if I need to open manually one by one, we lost a lot of time. Very a lot of time. And in the meantime, we want to extract for each 2D drawing, we want to extract all the parameters and create a lot of kind of reports, maybe to change the value of some parameters, maybe to add new parameters to be compliant with the windshield preference, windshield rules, or something like that. So it was a very fantastic project because, we will see after the feedback from this customer. So if I repeat again the process, we had a lot of 2D drawings from AutoCAD. We want to convert it in Creo format because Creo Parametric is able to open AutoCAD format. In the meantime, we want to extract all the parameters. And the last step consists to integrate on windshield. grosso modo, it's to do a check-in on windshield. The feedback was, okay, for this project, only 3 days to create this project. 3 days to import. At the end, the project is ready, and you click on the button, and the automation imports these 80,000 files. It scans all the parameters. It creates maybe new parameters. It sets the designated parameters to be useful by windshield after, for example, and we check in into windshield. Compared to a manual process, SIGMAXIM automation was 1,000 times faster and cost less than 1% of. It's incredible. It's very incredible because, once again, if you need to do it manually, one by one, you will lose a lot of time, and you take the risk to generate a lot of errors. So now, if you have some question, don't hesitate.
Thanks, Brice. One thing I will add on the case study is that if anybody wants more details, we can send you, a PDF of the entire case study if you want more details. So now, let's answer your questions. The first one is, how complex can you make the checks?
It's a very interesting question, how to deliver answer. But that's simple. All the action you should do in Creo can be automated. That significates what? That significates the most difficult task, again, consists to extract your process and your rules from your head to create an automation solution. And if you know the song, the goal is to do this task better, faster, stronger. Okay, so finally, you have no limitation once again. We already created very, very complex project for space, for automobile, for military, for everybody. If finally that depends your ambitions.
Okay. So I like typically to answer this question. So there is a term I use a lot that. Actually, I think I'm the only one who likes it in SIGMAXIM, is infinitely scalable. And what I mean by that is, if we can articulate a question in a logical manner, it doesn't matter how many switches to that articulated question there is, we can then automate it. So the complexity is how clear this complex process that needs to be automated is, how clear, not how long or now how complex it is or now how specific it is. All of those are fine. It's infinitely scalable as far as the complexity, as long as it is clear and the logic is not fuzzy. So that's typically where things falls apart, is that when the logic isn't really very clear. It's fuzzy in people's mind when they define it. Therefore, when you implement it, it might not hit, the 100% cases. It might have some edge condition that is not covered. So it better be very clear and very specific about how to handle every single variation of these cases you're trying to deal with.
Okay, thanks, Charles. The next question is, my company is already using SIGMAXIM for automation. Is the MBD conversion an additional module or part of what we have?
It's not a module, it's a process. It's a new project. Here, in this movie, you saw one process to generate MBD 3D annotation. Maybe you need the same, but without the same logic, without the same rules. So the goal is not to create a new module. The goal is to adapt a project and create a new project for you.
Yeah. So Smart Assembly, Smart Design Server that you guys, anybody who's using our software has already include the capabilities to do anything with MBD, whatever So you can automate anything in Creo, including all the MBD functionality. Now, on top of that, what we are building a bunch of tools that are kind of out of the box. So things that we know that people want. So rather than starting a project by automating, whatever you want to, the steps that you want, we see certain aspects of the MBD implementation that we can build ahead of time that we know we want to use. So they're kind of out of the box tools that can plug and play with your smart assembly implementation, smart design server implementation. But your tool has the functionality to automate anything in MBD. So hopefully that is clear. So think about it that we are pre-building automation that we think people would want ahead of them wanting it from us.
Okay. Thanks, Charles. Next question is, can you make a report about any changes which were made?
Yeah. As you can saw during these short examples, when you have a process, you can create checkpoints during the process to have immediately a feedback from Creo Parametric as a pop-up, for example, to advise you if you have an error or something like that. Or you can generate a report, an automatic report at the end of your process to have your feedback, to say, okay, this part, for example, is not compliant with your rules. Okay, we did it. We create the feedback into a report, and we continue the process for the next model, etc. So, of course, we can generate report, pop-up. We can follow all your process during the process. It's not an issue.
Okay, thanks, Brice. So let's see. Do I need Toolkit to run these applications?
No, because Toolkit, this is another methodology to do something, but Toolkit is not maybe compatible if you upgrade your Creo Parametric version. Most of the time, when people already use Toolkit, but I call SIGMAXIM to say, okay, we upgrade our windshield or our Creo Parametric version, and we lost some functionalities.
Yeah,
it's not the case with our solution.
Yeah, so this question probably comes from a Creo licensing question. So with PTC licensing, do we actually need? Does our customer need to have a Toolkit license in order? No, and the answer is no, because we license and provide that license. So so the API that we're using the API with PTC as a partner allow us to basically provide these apps, and the customer doesn't need the license, the Toolkit license, because they're running directly through our software.
Thank you. We have one more. How did you make checks inside the software?
We already delivered.
Did we do that one already?
The answer is the same. We can create checkpoints as you wish every time.
Okay, then that's it.
One other question that came up is automation only for Creo, or is it also for B&W software also?
Right.
So it's a nuanced question a little bit. So B&W software, pretty much most of what you have in there is basically automation on itself. So B&W software has a different aspect of automation that are pre-built into these different applications. Now, if logically we need to make a call that runs something that B&W, I give you an example. B&W software has this whole chart application. So whole chart application, which looks at the geometry and try to classify holes, including stuff that's coming from imported geometry, into classes of holes, and give you basically a table of where the whole chart is and what are these classification of holes. So if part of the automation is for us to actually run this application in order for it to create this whole chart, then that is possible. We just, in that case, we're putting an extra layer of automation on top of a software, that automation software that B&W has created, which is the whole chart. So that's an example where, yeah, we would be automating, but on itself, B&W software is also automation. So,
okay.
So hopefully that explains it.
Okay, we have another question that just came in. Are there any technical or architectural implications relating to the SIGMAXIM software as PTC rolls out Creo Plus and Windchill Plus?
No. Okay. So with Windchill Plus, no, because we are basically we're supporting. Actually, either we have already or very close to releasing support to Windchill Plus. Creo Plus is something that we intend or we have plans to support, but we haven't yet. So we have the capability of running it already. So technically, we support Creo Plus. We are still in the process of figuring out the mechanics of ensuring that we can be on time every 3 months that Creo Plus support stuff, and what would happen if some support, some feature might break something. If you could, so if anybody who's used our software realizes that the biggest advantage that happens is support for changes. So when Creo changed to the next version, all automation work. And that looks like magical, but in the background, we have tons of effort. That's our most, the biggest effort we do is to make sure these applications, I mean, we have over 1 million applications that they're all gonna run in every release. So we have to make sure every single thing works continuously every year that Creo releases. So now we have to make sure it works every 3 months that Creo releases. And so we have, so there is a architectural, or not just architectural, there is, we have to plan of what happened with Creo Plus besides us knowing that we can support it. So obviously we can support it. We already can run it. We have to be sure though that continuously we can continue to support it, and not to have people, because they don't have the choice of holding off changes to new version. It happens automatically every 3 months. That what happened if we can't meet that deadline? So there is it's not a technical, it's more of a business decision that has to happen, where we can be sure we can support Creo Plus. We intend to, but still not there yet for us.
Okay, thanks, Charles. Okay, well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining, and I will send a recording out to everybody. Please follow us on LinkedIn, because that's where we post information on all of our upcoming webinars. We have one coming up soon on DFMA and some other very interesting topics. So please follow us on LinkedIn. Reach out to us at any time if you have a question at info@sigmaxim.com, or reach out to us individually on LinkedIn. And thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day.